Hello, everyone. How y'all doing? Good to see y'all. Be back. I'm still in Michigan. I'm staying at my cousin Hutch's house. Thank you so much, brother, for letting me crash at your place here in Michigan. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Um, so, so basically, I'm still doing my thing remote now. So, hope everyone's doing well, having a great week so far. It's a short week, so it's tomorrow's Thursday. Didn't feel like it, but tomorrow's Thursday. So, college football will be back very soon. I'm waiting for a few of y'all to join. So what I'm gonna do. Wait for a few of y'all to join so we can get started with our conversation. Talk. All right. All right. Well, we'll just, of course, we'll kick this thing off. Um, One thing about football is it's always great to win. That's what we did. We won. Michigan beat Colorado State in the opener, 51-7. A win is always wonderful. It's great to get out there and have that one next to the O and be above 500 and have that feeling of dreams coming true. Um, so it's that anything is possible. So that's a wonderful thing. I'm really happy that Michigan is out to a 1-0 start. They look very, very good. The defense was lights out. I don't think the defense really missed a beat from last year. And I think the Starless defense is going to do some things. You got some really great pass rushers. Anoma, the transfer looks like just a freak. I think he's going to be someone that's going to be a game changing, game breaking type player off the edge. Jalen Harrell, Mike Sainer still looks just phenomenal on that side of the ball. And my dude Rod Moore, the interception just basically baited him into that throw. It was a beautiful, beautiful thing. So I am very excited about the defense. I think Junior Colson running around like Ray Lewis out there. Of course, I'm not comparing him to Ray Lewis, but he running around like Ray Lewis out there. Mozzie Smith, basically just a giant tree that you can't move. Just yeah, so much to like on that side of the ball, and it's really good for them to get that rhythm. And the one touchdown that Colorado State did score was against our ascending freshman DB Will Johnson. Just a perfectly thrown ball. Um, I think you can count on one hand how many of those balls that Will's going to give up in his entire career at Michigan. So that is not no concern at all. Offensively, Blake Corum just shows up, shows out, gets the job done. We had an ode to Hassan Haskins with that hurdle. He is a football player is what Blake Corum is, and I'm really glad that he had a great game. Donovan Edwards got his feet wet. The offensive line, of course, you're missing Ryan Hayes and Carson Barnhart got hurt, so you're still kind of working through some things right now. But you gave some pressure on some pass plays and such, but I don't see that as much cause for concern at all because the talent is there and its talent is deep. You just got guys playing out of position and just need to calibrate that. But once Ryan Hayes gets back and Carson Barhart gets healthy, Trente Jones just continue getting his feet wet, they're gonna be fine. Yeah, kicking game, Brad Robbins, Jake Moody. You ain't need nothing else. You don't need anything else. That's just you know that's just something that's reliable. It's Death Texas, Jake Moody between the uprights. So yeah, well, I guess it's time to talk about what y'all came here for, which is the quarterbacks. And we'll start with the young man who started the game, Cade McNamara. He was 9 for 18, 136 yards. Had a touchdown on that beautiful pass to Roman Wilson. I'll try to talk about the receivers. Roman Wilson is Speedy Gonzalez. Andale, yeah. Just zoom, gone. On that screen pass. Eric All had an amazing catch. He had that stumble on that third down, which was unfortunate for our team who couldn't punch that one in. Kay was the play calling was vanilla. He had a couple of misses early, probably some early season jitters. Nothing too much to write home about there. Had a couple drops, but that's early season jitters too, and made some really nice throws, nice decisions. These numbers aren't gonna stand out to you, but with with vanilla play calling, with which you shouldn't be opening up your whole playbook in the first game of the year anyways. You got what you got, and he did his thing, and of course, also they have 3 throwaways. So, the 9 for 18, 50% completion percentage, that's the number, but it wasn't that bad. So, we'll move on to our QB2 for this past week. JJ McCarthy, 4 for 430 yards, 1 rushing touchdown on a beautiful zone read. I liked what I saw. He checked down a couple times, and defaulted to getting some yards instead of big yards, which shows growth in his game. It looks like he's gained a step of speed. So I mean, I see him getting better. He's getting better, and that's a very, very great thing to see. And he'll be getting the nod this week against Hawaii. So we'll get to see what he's like in running the whole game. So certainly just looking forward to see how that goes. Good game for JJ McCarthy, getting his feet wet and making some exciting plays. He's a good athlete. So, well, the next thing we'll do now is kind of go to the elephant in the room, which is the press conference. That happened, and Cade made some comments in the press conference that really raised some eyebrows and such. And I definitely want to tackle it head on. One thing about Cade is he's honest. Like I said, me and Cade aren't best buds. We're not talking on the phone 3 times a day. None of that. We're acquaintances. I know him. He knows me, and we talked. One thing about Cade is a passionate and a great kid. He's definitely someone that you want in your locker room. Someone that you want as a teammate. He's very one thing you're not gonna like him as a teammate is you're someone who likes to slack, because he's not gonna allow it. He's gonna get on you. But also one thing about Cade is he is a very, very confident young man. He has very high regard of what he's able to do. And that's not an inflated sense of self, but just a highly regarded sense of or what he can do. So like I said, he's not a selfish player. He's not a team killer. That's just not who he is. But in that moment, especially after what's transpired over the last couple of years, he got very, very in that press conference he was very raw with how he felt. Here's what he said. He said, this is just a part of what he said. He said, in regards to this rotation, I would definitely say that it's pretty unusual. It was kind of a thing that I wasn't expecting. By the end of camp, I thought I had my best camp and put myself into a good position. I mean, looking at these words, I mean, he's, a lot of times you're prepped with press conferences. You're kind of told, where to say, where to camp out and such. Right there, there's nothing that he said here that wasn't him giving his honest reaction. And personally, I thought it was refreshing to hear an honest take. But also, I think there are a lot of people that think, well, he's selfish, he's entitled, he's this. That couldn't be further from the truth. He is an outstanding teammate and a great young man. But he's very honest and very forthright and such. But for the people that think that Cade McNamara is, the people that think Cade McNamara is a bad teammate, he's not a real leader or captain. Here's the thing, y'all. Since 1970, there have only been 7 team captains. That's over 50 years. Since 1970, there's only been 7 captains that have been quarterbacks since 1970. That's 53 seasons, and it's only 7. And since 1999, which was Tom Brady, there's only been 2, which is Denard Robinson and Cade McNamara. If Cade was a team killer or selfish, he wouldn't have been voted team captain. But you also have to kind of really, for those who think that way, you have to put yourself in his shoes and really kind of walk a mile. You really don't know what you would do or what someone else would do until you walk a mile in someone's shoes. And just look back at this. Cade came into Michigan when he first got to Michigan in 2019. He was fourth string, red shirt behind Shea Patterson, Dylan McCaffrey, Joe Milton. So Cade, one thing Cade did is Cade waited his turn. You didn't see any antics on social media. You didn't see him do anything crazy things in the game. You didn't see any of that. He sat there and he waited his turn, and he learned from Shea Patterson, who was the senior captain at that time, and he waited his turn, and he just like what you're supposed to do, and that's a very commendable thing to do. And then he gets to 2020 season, during COVID, he's probably third string, behind McCaffrey and Milton. No one's talking about Cade, but he kept his mouth shut. He kept working and working and working. Dylan McCaffrey leaves. He becomes second string. Joe got himself into a funk, leading into the Rutgers game. Cade just stepped in and worked his magic, led Michigan from down 17-0 to a win, and kind of a seminal moment in the locker room with the "what happens if we went out, huh?" That where people laughed at it, but he was very sincere with those comments, and went through a whole off season, and really, along with Hutchinson, along with Hassan Haskins, Josh Ross, and of course whoever I haven't named, really helped the team take ownership to be able to really turn from a 2-4 start in 2020 to 2021, and well, I'm getting all these names mixed up in my head. And Cade worked. He earned the starting job going into 2021. JJ, fared admirably, and JJ was able to play in spot duty and such, and really that entire time you're helping this team. You're helping lead your team to win over Ohio State, to a Big Ten championship, to the playoff. That whole time, you're still having to deal with. Whispers about you. Well, you're not going. You're just a placeholder for JJ. I mean, that's what took a toll on you. And I know, and I'm quite positive. Some of that stuff bothered him even last year while he was helping the team win. You go to the off season, you work, you train your body right, you get all your stuff ready to go. You go through, have a decent spring, at least a decent spring, good spring. You dedicate your entire summer. You come back, you're really kind of firmly established as a team leader. You're playing your best football of your life, despite JJ McCarthy, ascending as well, because he wasn't just gonna be a slouch. He's no slouch, and you do all those things. According to reports, you're still keeping, arm's length between JJ McCarthy, and holding on to your job. And then the very last minute, at the very end of camp, your team votes you captain. And that is the ultimate reward. And that doesn't happen every year with quarterbacks. Chad Henne was a 4-year starter, was never a captain. Of course, he was a great leader. One of my best friend from childhood was a walk-on receiver, and raised about Henne's leadership back then. He was a leader, and you have all that happen. You're invited to media day. You've done all those things, and then Jim. And then the very next day, Jim tells you that you're not starting the second game of your season after all that you led Michigan through. You're not starting the second game of the year. Like, you're benched essentially. That's going to be tough to take, especially if it's something that you weren't expecting. And something like this does not happen. This is what Jim's doing here is very unorthodox. It's very unorthodox and such. And it's important to understand where he comes from. And so from the optics of it, it really looks like, hey, I'm kind of being taken on a little march here to get to my job to have my job taken away. And that's kind of maybe how he feels. And then you get to start your game, and then you have fans booing you when you get there. A quiet game that usually easily win, you have fans booing you. And then when your backup, the guy that's been your backup for the last year and a half, comes in, and everyone goes to the standing ovation. What you have to realize is these kids are kids. They're not robots. They're kids, and they're college kids. And no matter how tough you are, no matter how tough you are, it really takes a toll on you whenever whenever you don't feel welcome in your own home and you feel like you're being pushed out. And I think the comments came from that because he's still human. I know and one thing I do know about him, from what I do know of him, I know he's working hard. I know he's doing everything he can to get himself prepared for Saturday. I know he's being the best teammate that he can be as well. It's just right now, it's just very difficult after all that you've done with someone that's as confident as he is, just to kind of be put in this very unorthodox position. That's a lot. And like I said, what Jim's doing, of course, I've made my piece about it. I don't agree with the way that it's going down, but it's happened. It's going down already. And last thing, and then we'll move on. In Michigan's modern history of football, where the modern game, the 1940s to now, there's never been a quarterback in the history of Michigan football ever that's led a team to a Big Ten championship, come back for another year, and lose their job. It's never happened, and ever. And of course, that doesn't mean it never has to happen. It doesn't mean that, because it's the first time for everything. And it doesn't mean that Cade should just be handed the job by default no matter what. No. But all I'm saying is, if you're going to kind of play with this, toy with the idea of replacing him, you better make absolute sure that whatever's coming behind him is generational, because Cade leads Michigan history and completion percentage. He leads Michigan history and lowest interception percentage. He has 4 of the top 10 longest passing plays in the history of the program. And on top of that, he has led scoring drives on 50% of his drives. He's led the scores. So he's as efficient as they come. He's a winner. He's a champion. So if you're going to toy around with the idea of replacing him, you better make absolute sure what's coming next down the line is generational. So we'll move on from that, and we'll go to Hawaii. We'll go on to Hawaii, and this is there's really nothing much to say about this one. Hawaii is not very good. They're probably the worst team in FBS, and Michigan should win by 60 points without even batting an eye. The key here will be just the key here is injuries. Is keeping the guys healthy. That's going to be the biggest key. You don't want to go down in a game like this. So one thing that's going to be important is going full speed. Is making sure that you're going full speed through your reps. I had my coach Norm from baseball told me a principle that kind of resonates through all sports. When we were playing a bad team, you don't play against the team, you play against the game. And that's what Michigan has to do this weekend, play against the game of football. Is what they got to do. And I believe they're going to do that. I believe they're going to have a very strong, I believe they're going to have a very strong outing. It's really a good time. If you're going to do this, it's a good time to get a guy that's been a reserve quarterback for the last year or so, JJ McCarthy, ready to go. And I'll move on to what JJ needs to do in his first start. I would say for him, the first thing he needs to do is relax. Just relax. Don't let the nerves get to you. Just just stay with your training and your coaching, and go through the right reads, right progressions, and such. And also to make sure that he while he has a great level of improvisational ability, where he can, as Jim Harbaugh says, take water and turn it into wine. He can do that. He has that ability. The important thing for him, he needs to stay within the confines of the playbook where he can. That way he can teach. That's way he can teach himself and get in the habit of doing the right thing at the right time instead of just what's there. Because if you get too comfortable with them improvising, you can get yourself in trouble, especially during Big Ten play. So that's what he'll need to do. Just relax, go through his motions, and I think he's going to have a good game. He's a good player, great talent. He's going to have a good game, and Michigan's going to win. The number one thing for everyone is he just needs to stay healthy. That's the big thing. Everyone needs to stay healthy, especially our quarterbacks, because we need, and I really believe we need Cade McNamara and JJ McCarthy healthy, because you need to have two guys that are ready to rock and roll and such. So number one thing is just staying healthy and such. So moving forward, after this, you got UConn and you got the conference season. I think it is essential. Of course, it's too late now for like I said, I don't think the quarterback race should have been dragged into the season. It's too late for that now. But I do believe that going forward, Michigan needs to settle on a guy. This cannot go into Big Ten season. This is what this can do, because I do believe to an extent the whole thing where you say if you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. I believe that to an extent. So Michigan has to get defined roles for both guys. Someone needs to be the guy, the big cheese, and of course if that's K, then you need to make sure that you carve out a very defined role for JJ. And if it's JJ, then if there is a role for K, define that role. But you have to get that settled and situated right now, this second. You can't if it goes into conference play, it's just going to be an extra hindrance and distraction to the team. So that needs to happen. So that's kind of my take with the whole with this past week, with this past week and going forward for Michigan. They're going to win. Just stay healthy, get better. Sharpen the saw. Going into conference play, which is in 2 weeks, and Maryland is a team that can make it a very uncomfortable afternoon for you if you don't show up to play. If you don't come to play, they can make it very uncomfortable. So it's important to sharpen that saw now. So, all right. Well, before I go, I want to run through a couple quick games that you may have interest in this weekend. The first one is Alabama at Texas. That is going to be a Donnybrook right there. It just, whew, I mean, it's gonna be a great game. It's gonna be a sold out crowd. It's a big noon Saturday, so Gus Johnson's gonna be going crazy. I think Texas is going to make this game exciting for a half. I think Texas is going to score points. Quentin Ewers is a talented quarterback. You've got Xavier Worthy. You've got Bijan Robinson, a very talented running back. They can score some points. I think so. I think they can score points, and I think it's going to be very entertaining for a half. But Alabama, it's going to be a hot day. Austin in September on that turf field is going to be a scorcher. I play high school ball down there in South Texas, so it's very, very hot in September. So it's going to be a hot one. So it's going to be important who stays hydrated. I just think Bryce Young, and I think Bryce Young and those athletes at Alabama. Is it Will Rott? Yeah, Will Rott is Will John. That amazing linebacker just slipped my mind. Is gonna do their thing, and I think it'll be 49-31 Alabama. They'll pull away late just because they have more and better athletes. But Texas, I think Sarkisian's gonna get the right guys in there. Going to get some great players in there, and I think they're gonna. I think they'll be nationally competitive in the next year or two. But this year is going to be, when they this game's a good measuring stick for them, because you can still win the Big 12 and be on the fringe of the playoff picture if you win out. So we'll see where Texas is. It's going to be a very nice progress report. And then the next one, a 3:30 kick, is going to be Tennessee at Pittsburgh. So return trip. Pittsburgh won that game last year on their way to the Peach Bowl and the ACC championship. We lost to Michigan State, and Tennessee they're starting to. Josh Heupel's getting it going. He's getting it going. It's going to be an interesting game. I think it'll be very close. Hendon Hooker is a dynamic quarterback for Tennessee. I think he's going to have a great game. Kenan Slovis, the quarterback for Pittsburgh, USC transfer. It's kind of like a trade for that receiver. It's pretty funny. I think that if that same crowd for the backyard brawl shows up this weekend for Pittsburgh, I think that's gonna be the edge there. I think they get Tennessee. I'm gonna say 31-28 in a very good game. So it's gonna be a fun game to watch. And then lastly is Kentucky at Florida, SEC opener for both teams. Kentucky's got Will Levis, the Penn State transfer, who led them to a very nice year last year, which ended with a Citrus Bowl win over Iowa. And then you've got, of course, you have Florida, and you've got the dynamic Anthony Richardson, who made some jaw-dropping plays, running the ball, throwing the ball. I think I think Anthony Richardson's a dark horse Heisman candidate. I'm probably it could be a September Heisman. I'm not sure, but it's going to be a great game. You know, two SEC rivals. Another toss up. It's another toss up game. I'm giving the edge to the home team, Florida. Um, I really believe that it's going to be. I think Florida has a chance to really have an extreme makeover. Um, yeah, one of those teams where you go from being mediocre to contending for the SEC. I think Georgia's the common sense favorite to win the East. But Billy Napier is a solid head coach. One of my I got a bunch of little brothers, y'all, that aren't related and relatives, but one of my little brothers, Keith Bearfield, who I played high school football for his father. He's and Keith following in his dad's footsteps. He's now a coach. He actually coached with Billy Napier at Louisiana Lafayette, and he told me Billy Napier is the real deal, solid as they come. And he's got talent. Florida, I mean, the cover wasn't bare, so talent is there. I think they're going to have I think it'll be a turnaround year in year one for Billy Napier. So, Florida fans get excited. They had a very thrilling win last week against Utah, where they got an interception in the end zone to seal the game, and folks in Gainesville went crazy. So, yeah. Well, that's all I got tonight. Like I said, I just want to stop through and, of course, recap what happened this past weekend. Look forward to this weekend for Michigan. Yeah, for those of y'all being in Ann Arbor, I plan to be there Saturday. So if you see me, come say hello. And then for those of y'all who won't be there, kick up, order a pizza, get some wings, whatever, and enjoy an amazing slate of college football because we've got this for the next 4 months, just nonstop. So enjoy yourself. Have y'all have a great night. Remember, this is my house, but know that you are welcome anytime. You all are welcome anytime. Oh yeah, Will Anderson. Thank you, Logan. My name is Will Anderson. Name slip my mind sometimes. So Logan, thank you for that comment. All right, y'all. Well, I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Enjoy your family, your friends. Go get some nice little dinner, cold beverage, all that. So, all right, y'all. Y'all take care. Thanks for joining me again. Bye now.